Hello guys, and welcome back to Rise of Prussia with our campaign here of the Second Silesian War, playing as Prussia. In the last episode, we just ended it, and we had some massive battles between Kurt, Frederick, two of our best generals, against a massive Austrian and combined Saxon force that have been trying to fight us in and around the area of Prague ever since breaking through Eger during the winter, when I had to take Frederick off the border and go resupply him at Pilsen. And right now, the Saxon force has arrived in Prague. I don't believe it has the power to take the city, but there's still these other, and this is more than two Austrian, doom stacks worth of units that are, we can see now. This one's suffering a 20% penalty. It has 68 required command. They're running around very inefficiently. This one actually has all the command it needs. Wow, provided command 41? How do you even do that? Frederick is Frederick, and he only has 36. Okay, well, that's interesting. And with that being said, I am already sending Kurt here and Frederick on the offensive, both back to Prague to go hunker down in the city, just in case they'd like to try something to take the city, mainly because I saw the Saxons jump on it. Last turn we were also cannibalizing Marwitz's army and sending bits and pieces of it all over. The only piece going remotely where I wanted it to go after the turn ended was this one, because it had a bit of an out-of-the-way path and it wasn't trying to get to a certain person. So it's just going to go through this Austrian-owned territory here, which I don't know how all of this is Austrian-owned, because I feel like I've been through it unless I've gone through the river. Either way, I'm going to march through all this with basically a single brigade made up of barely anything, really. And it's going to work its way up to Leipzig. And the rest of them are all down here, scattered about. We have 3 different units sitting on this area here. I have all of them on evade combat now that none of them are deactivated. And I've also made sure to put them all in defense except for the artillery, which I still have on passive. The brigades are more likely to be caught. But given the massive presence of our forces in the region, I'm not terribly worried about any of this. That being said, there is a good chance that they would just retreat anyway. In fact, I can basically tell them to retreat if engaged. Yeah, so they're on the defensive, but they'll roll to retreat before any actual combat starts, which is basically what the passive posture is. But the units on the defense wouldn't suffer as many penalties if they were engaged, since they're on defensive instead of passive. They are a little more likely to enter combat as a result, but trust me, it's better this way. The passive, as I understand it, yeah, it helps make sure they keep their cohesion when not in the city, that they get any replacements they need, and I believe it also helps keep them out of combat in general. Over here in the northwest, we have Leopold, has, as you see, some of the troops are coming to him. I'm just going to step him over just one region to take control of this fortified camp just south of Freiburg. Maybe we'll see what's in Freiburg and then figure out if we're going to maybe attack that. Or Eger, taking control of the depots in the area would certainly, or could certainly be helpful. Unfortunately, the rest of Saxony is still blocked off. I do want to take Eger, but it's not as important now that the enemy Austrians have spilled into our territory as it is. And as it stands, I've already cut off their supply lines for the most part. Sure, if you look at this, it seems like they have access going here, but these supplies cannot travel this far. None of their supplies can travel as far as they need it to. So I do believe they're taking some definite penalties to their supply as things stand. And the longer I keep them engaged, the more likely we are to reach a point where they just end up dying because they ran out of supply. But I'd like to have one of my armies here, like Leopold, keeping up the pressure on their rear supply points, such as Freiburg, such as Eger. Maybe that cutting them off completely from the Austrians to help speed up this process, if at all possible, because they just have so many units in my territory, it's hard to look at even attacking theirs. They have about 80,000, more than 80,000 units just right here. Forget about anywhere else. Forget about any of the targets I need to go for. Right here in the middle of Bohemia, in the middle of the objectives that I have to hold to win the game, they have almost or more than 80,000 troops. I have something like 55,000 at the moment, so we're definitely outnumbered. I could try to put more of my forces here, but I feel like by, putting these units up here, reallocating these units, sending Marwitz down south to maybe look at an attack on Krems. I'm just going to move him right next to Krems this upcoming turn. I could just move him down here. The chance of there actually being anything here is very tiny, but I think I'll just do this so he has a chance to rest. Just do a little recon, rest a little bit, and then if there is nothing at Krems, I'll probably move over the next turn and assault it immediately upon arrival, because that could be good. Then again, we don't know it's in Vienna. Okay, well, fine. Let's go ahead and just move directly to Krems, because that way I can see what's in Vienna as well before I commit to actually assaulting Krems. Since we are having money issues, I'm finally going to go ahead and do the raise more money option. I've been trying not to do this the whole game. It costs 2 morale, 25 victory points, 5 engagement points, and that sounds like something you wouldn't want to spend, but it will give me 50 thalers, which money's the only thing I've been lacking. And I have so many victory points, the Austrians will never catch up to me. My morale is maintaining way higher than theirs, and especially has been helped after this turn. Look, 1 for 2 national morale points gained. Yeah, we've gotten a lot of good ones. We've captured a lot of supplies as well. No real events to worry about here. We've been training units. Austrians are building even more fortified camps. Man, the Austrians, the AI, love building those camps. And quite frankly, I don't understand why. But that's going to be all the spending I do for this turn. I'm going to keep up the spending of requisitions here, which costs me some victory points, but it gives me about 10 more money each every time I do it. And some more supply, but the money's really what I care about. And with that, we have completed our first turn for this episode, so let's hit proceed to next turn. And we have a battle starting between Frederick and the numerous amounts of enemies here. Oh, okay. So I think I learned what freezes my game during these battle calculations. It's when I interact with the game in any way, like trying to zoom in, trying to click on things. Kind of odd. We're definitely outnumbered. I believe we're not engaging the full 80 or so thousand that we've seen, but more of these 60 plus thousand we've encountered in our past 2 fights. Ooh, the start of this is looking a lot better. I think you can actually see our combined forces, or most of our combined forces anyway, between Kurt and Frederick fighting the enemy units. And here we have our battle results, and whoo, that was a scary fight. I was wrong, actually. There was over 75,000 enemy men in this fight. That is definitely almost all, if not most, if not all, I don't even know what I'm saying, of their units with almost 30,000 horses, 192 cannons. We've matched them in cannons, finally, for the time being. Almost 20,000 horses, far less. 51,000 men. You can see our numbers have been dwindling, in addition to theirs. Let's look at the hits. We suffered 163 to their 371, so not as good of a situation, as you would hope. And their supply situation does seem to be holding for the time being. We did suffer a massive amount of hits, taking 2,732 men casualties, 487 horses lost. But compared to their 6,259 plus 1,272 horses, we are definitely at the better end of the spectrum here. They have also lost two elements here. One is a trained line infantry, another is a pretty meh cavalry. They're definitely suffering more losses overall, but right now it's still within the range that it's not decisive enough because neither side is losing elements. We're just losing men within the elements. Looks like Kurt has arrived in Prague and is taking cover in the fortifications. Oh boy, and now, what is even happening? Frederick has arrived in Prague, taking cover in the fortifications. Artillery's arriving. Other units are coming through. Woo, okay, there was some Austrians sitting on Krems, which is unfortunate. I was hoping this wouldn't be the case. Looks like our army is the one that decided to attack, which is even more unfortunate. A Prussian defeat. That's the first time we've ever seen the defeat screen, but let us take a look at what we can see after that essentially terrible recon right there. So they have a decent amount of units here, a little more than we have in the area. Yeah, they got an extra brigade that we don't have. It's funny, Vienna is actually less defended right now than Krems because these units are sitting on top of Krems. And they were fortified, which certainly didn't help. We lost over 1,000 men, 139 horses, so they're only 711 men. That's a shame. but no elements lost, and our commander Marwitz here has managed to retreat. We do know what's down here now. We know it's very lightly defended, which is good. Okay, that is the end of that turn. Thanks to our victory, we've captured some supplies. Your opponent has raised more money. Oh, are you using an event like that as well? Looks like the money does not respawn, that decision. Obtain loans from the local gentry. Yes, now we have more money to use. Okay, so I've realized that this army that I'm trying to send northwest is disregarding almost every order I give it, because the moment at the end that I tell him to target Leopold, he's deciding to take his own route rather than the one that I've given to him. That being said, we have now successfully chased the Austrians back across the river after their little excursion into our territory. We've acquired a new fortified camp that they set up. I honestly... Can I, like, demolish these? I don't think so. That's a shame. The enemy can set them up literally the moment they step into your territory, and you can't get rid of them. I'm going to leave Frederick's army over here for the time being to just keep staring down this force, since he is the one that's better off fighting this force. Kurt, on the other hand, is going to return back to the initial objective that I had in mind for him, which involves running all the way back down to Iglau, and then going down towards Krems and finally Vienna. We've now secured a path to Krems that is within our supply for the time being, and it looks like we do have supply in the area. How long does it take to get there? 17 days, so there's a very slight chance that he could actually get there in one turn. So I'll just move him there for now and order him to enter in case he does arrive. More than likely, he will not arrive in time to actually do anything. This Marwitz's army here has suffered some injuries, so I'm just going to go stuff him into Bruns for the time being. Enter there. I'll probably send him behind Kurt, or heck, you know what? Maybe I'll even send him to support Frederick. Maybe that's a smarter idea. I don't know. You know what? Yeah, I'll send him to support Frederick while Kurt is leaving and coming to the southeast, because we have... What's the situation here? We have 11 turns remaining. It's going to take 2 turns, probably, to reach Krems. Yes, it will take 2 turns to reach Krems. So, by that point, there will be 9 turns remaining. And 9 turns isn't a lot of time to try to get through Vienna, Pressburg, and... what is this over here? Pest, which I believe has to... Can it go from here to here? I don't know what that says, but I believe we'd have to go through Agram before getting to here. And that's to acquire our remaining strategic towns that we need by the end of the game for one of the objectives, in case, for whatever reason, we need that to actually get a win screen. If for whatever reason, Hal does not end up getting taken by the end of this. Now, over here in the mountains of Saxony, we see that there is a brigade and then a small, what looks like some kind of, I don't know, cavalry unit, or just individual unit, are sitting outside Freiburg. And there's a very teeny tiny garrison inside of Freiburg. I'm going to take Leopold's army here, step over here in 4 days, and just assault it. Immediately assault it. And I want to ensure that I take it in 1 turn. So I'm going to do something a little riskier here, because I don't know exactly how well the assault's going to go. But I'm going to put him on all-out attack, because I believe that will allow him to constantly assault it and be a little more aggressive, because with what's sitting here defending it, I don't believe that he should have any trouble with trying to take the location if he simply presses it. And I want to ensure that he gets it in 1 turn. If he needs to sit there for a turn after to recover, that's fine. It's a size 4 depot. I'm not concerned about that. However, I want him to take it now, before the end of the turn, so that we cut off one of their main depots in the area and reduce the chance of any supply ever reaching any of them from this point onwards, because by now they have to be burning through their ammo. They just have to be. Plus, if Saxony does open up here in the next turn or so, he'll be in the perfect position to attack Chemnitz, while Sonderkorps over here, the Sonderkorps, can head up to Hal. I guess this guy's also named Leopold, so I'm just calling him Sonderkorps, I guess. So we're going to need to keep recruiting some elite infantry. We have a lot of elite infantry right now, actually. We need more light infantry. We are recruiting light infantry as things stand, but we could potentially use some more recruiting. So let's toss over there, into Breslau, more into Breslau, and into Namslau. So we're recruiting 7 different groups, or battalions, I guess, of line infantry here, which is 3 elements each. So hopefully by the end of this recruitment cycle, which would be 60 days from now, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4 turns, we'd have an excessive amount and then not need to recruit anymore. Because for the first time, we actually have an excess of elements somehow. I don't know how, but we've been burning through them so quickly this whole campaign, and now all of a sudden we're just not. I don't know how or why that is, but that looks like that's going to be everything that I'm doing for this turn, unless any options or anything have opened up. No, doesn't appear to be that. So let's proceed to the next turn. Okay, our forces have arrived in Freiburg, and we've gone on the attack immediately with a Prussian victory, although our losses really wouldn't make you think we did that well. Taking 24 hits to their 30, they had over full entrenchment, yet they still lost more men than us. Our 407 men to their 522, our 121 horses to their 313. We outnumbered them by about 20,000 men, by about 11,000 horses, and we had 96 cannons. They had none. We are now assaulting the garrison itself, and we lost 0 men. 0 men lost when assaulting the garrison, which makes up for that completely. Despite them having 3,606 men, 1,974 horses. I think the rest of the men outside did enter the garrison, almost. I don't know. It doesn't look like we've taken it, which is kind of weird. Okay, there we go. It's now switched, and the Saxon forces have moved. Oh, ooh, this man is running up to Brunn. Very interesting. He's actually trying to attack Brunn. This is why I didn't want to go that far, because I was wondering if something would happen here. And something did, in fact, happen. Kurt, my boy, we are going to redirect you over here to Brunn, which is military controls being taken by Austria. You'll go on the offensive the moment you reach this location. Yes, so he'll get there, he'll attack these brigades, and hopefully chase them off. It looks like they want Brunn as their target objective. Just in case, I'll actually make him target this unit. Again, I want to send him down to Vienna and all this stuff, but the Austrians just keep giving me something else to do. They keep getting in my way. I've redone where this unit's going, so he's running around a different location now. It's going to take him forever to get up here. So unfortunately, while we fought to take Freiburg, the Austrians destroyed the level 4 depot that was in the city. Now that's unfortunate, but at least if they took back the city, it wouldn't be available to them either. Oh man, it would take 12 days just to get there. That's no fun. That's not good. They have 1 regular unit and 3 cavalry. Alright, that's really not a lot to worry about. It's the artillery. The artillery are hard to pull around into this mountainous terrain, which, I mean, we have been traveling through this whole time, mind you. I'm thinking about backing it up to Eger now. I'm thinking about it. I'd have to... What if I went to Carlsbad first? I could go to Carlsbad first. 14 days to do so. It's either I chase after this unit, who will go God knows where, and get me stuck in the mountains, or I start moving towards Eger and taking that, trying to secure that depot for similar reasons. Yeah, I think I'll go back to Eger. I'll set him to enter immediately upon arriving at Carlsbad, which he should reach around the very end of this turn, unless this unit actually somehow arrives. Frederick's forces are actually doing really, really well right now, so I'm just going to put him outside of Prague, put him on the offensive in case the Austrians try to get past me. Marwitz, on the other hand, I'm going to move into Prague and just put him into the city as a little defensive force, allow him to recuperate some of his losses, and then, depending on how things go, I may actually leave Marwitz in here along with Einsiedel, and then relocate Frederick elsewhere. Maybe not like super far, but maybe try to get him to provoke a fight over here with a lot of these units. I'm going to be trying to pay attention to these power ratings and just the amount of Austrians as I see. I know they're a lot weaker after all those battles, but I do want to try to make sure I'm keeping track to see if there's any massive changes indicating that they have some sort of supply issues that are killing them. Because if they do, then even if we cross the river to attack them, we would win. We would absolutely destroy them. And that's what I'm hoping we run into situation-wise here. The Austrian morale is again recovering a little bit. It's been hovering around 40 to 60 this entire time. Our morale's holding high up at about 180. Their victory points are still negative. Everything still seems to be in our favor, given all the orders that I need to give for the time being. Line infantry are coming online. We are burning through that elite infantry real quick. I don't think I actually used any requisitions last turn, now that I think about it. So let's go ahead and 1, 2, 3. Just get those requisitions down. As for what we're going to recruit, you know, the line infantry doesn't actually cost a whole lot, but it is a lot of money. Fuck it. Let's recruit 2 more. We're going to have a whole lot pumping out. Hopefully, we just won't need to recruit anymore anyway. We're towards the end of the campaign now. There's only 10 turns remaining. We've been through 25 turns. Think about that. Well, there is still a decent amount of time for things to go right or wrong. There's not a whole lot of turns remaining, so what we recruit now is becoming less and less important, theoretically. Anyway, just to confirm, we cannot go over there. No, we cannot. All right, that's a shame. And I've already checked to make sure we can't go up here. No, it's neutral, blocked, yada yada. Let's proceed to next turn. Okay, so the Austrians and the Saxons, all of them, have moved to Prague. These crazy bastards have actually moved towards us. Okay, and Frederick is engaging them, just as I've ordered. And god damn it, my game froze again. Why does it keep doing this? I didn't even interact with the screen that time. Maybe it's just random. I hope it's just this campaign and it doesn't do this in the bigger campaign. But we are now definitely in a situation where Frederick is probably outnumbered about 2 to 1, if not even a little more. However, Frederick's troops are all good and ready to go. The enemy units have just crossed a river. The enemy units probably have some supply, hopefully plenty of cohesion issues. Frederick has a cohesion buff and a full amount of supplies. So I'm hoping that this goes well for us. That was a really long battle calculation. I didn't have much to say because my screen was frozen, so I skipped through it, and oh my god, guys. This is probably one of the most consequential battles, if not the single most consequential battle we have fought, not just in this campaign, but in the last one too. Frederick, with the help of the probably Marwitz's unit and Einsidel's unit, based on the fact that 10% of our units or whatever were entrenched, we had 36,500 men total, 14,000 approximate horses, 240 cannons versus the enemy's nearly 60,000 men, 24,000 horses, and 144 cannons. Both sides have taken massive amounts of hits and massive amounts of casualties. Since we went on the offensive, we didn't have any entrenchment bonus, but I didn't want to let them just walk past us again. I didn't want to let them do that. Oh, this is more elements than we've lost in both campaigns combined. We've lost 5 line infantry elements and a single elite infantry element. We've taken 517 hits to the enemy's 998 hits. The enemy, on the other hand, has lost about twice as much as we have in just pure casualties between deaths, injuries, and prisoners, of which we took 317 companies. 44 of our units routed during the fight, 118 of theirs. They lost total almost 17,000 men. So whereas we'd end up at around something like 28,000? Yeah, something like that. The enemy is going down to 43,000? That's a big change for them. They lost 2,370 horses. We've definitely lost more horses than they did in that regard. However, do take note, most of our losses were just these little hearts. It's damage within an element. We did not actually lose a lot of elements. We lost 6 elements total. 5 line infantry, 1 elite infantry. The enemy lost, right here, 3 line infantry, another line infantry, 15 more line infantry, 11 more line infantry, 5 cavalry, 4 elite infantry, and another line infantry, Hungarian. They lost way more in elements, and whereas you can recover damage taken by hearts without having elements in the reserves, such as, these, you absolutely must have elements available in order to recover elements that have been completely lost. So that is really quite amazing for us. Unfortunately, as we can see here, it looks like Frederick decided that it would be unwise to stay there for another turn. Despite dealing way more than he lost enough of his men, a really large amount of his men, maybe a fourth of his men, that he decided to back off, run to the next location and go into passive mode to avoid a fight, hopefully. Which means the enemies are left all by their lonesome, pretty much, in Prague. Right outside it. Which is not good for us. So we're going to continue. Doesn't look like they're going to be assaulting it this turn. Okay, Kurt has arrived in Brunn while chasing this enemy unit. This looks like the leaders that we chased away in the east. One of them, maybe, and he acquired a regular. Now, this is actually quite a couple bit of brigades here. So we have arrived in Brunn. I'm going to target this reserve army corps with Kurt, chase him around wherever he goes still for the time being. Oh, guys, it's time. Saxony has opened up. Saxony has opened up, and unfortunately, one of the first things they did was take Dresden. I don't know how it happened. It looks like it was some kind of event. We've lost Dresden and Sachsen. It's an infamous day for our nation, and popular support for the war is dwindling rapidly. I don't know how or why that happened. I think that was an event. I don't think I could have stopped that. Yeah, I believe that was an event that I could not stop. Okay, we're going to have to repurpose Leopold now. Victory is in reach. It's also on the verge of collapse. Now that all these Austrians are just unopposed over here in Prague. Now that there's brigades pushing on Brunn. These are all victory points we need to hold. So our situation is becoming dire, to say the least. This army corps has actually stayed over here with Frederick. Frederick has recovered most of his cohesion, most of his composure. He has some losses, unfortunately, but his power is doing pretty well for the time being. Alright, so we're going to put both of them on the defensive. I'm going to put them on evade combat, and I'm going to try to get them both into Prague and into the fortifications. They'll get there in 2 days, hopefully avoiding a fight. If they do get into a fight, though, hopefully it goes well. Again, the enemies should be having massive supply issues by now. It looks like their columns, their forces in general, are a lot less healthy than they've ever been. These supplies are still on our side. So that's good, at least. Although their military control of this area does concern me. It does concern me. So we just got to make sure we hold it. I am going to repurpose Leopold. Okay, so the Sonder Corps. Oh my god, wait a minute. Okay, this is one heck of an event. Not only did it kick me... Oh god, not only did it get rid of Dresden, it kicked me out of Leipzig. It just completely kicked me out of there. Look at this. What has happened? Yeah, all of our defenses in the area have been replaced over here in Torgau. We've completely lost Dresden. The game literally just took it away from us without warning. Here we go. Prussia declares war on Saxony. Saxon Corps support of Austria gives Prussia casus belli, so Prussia declares war on Saxony. We've just lost these locations. The game just took them away from me without warning. If I knew that, I would have kept the Sonder Corps at Magdeburg so I could just march directly to Hal, but I guess that's no longer an option. And now there's massive amounts of Saxons in the area. You ever... God damn it. You ever hate when a game just really tries its best to fuck you right in the ass? Because that's what just happened. Well, with the arrival of Folk and another brigade to assist the Sonder Corps, I've tossed them both in there. I put all the cavalry into Folk's brigade, which will make this a little bit more efficient of an operation. It's still a damn fucking shame what's just happened, though. I'm going to march the Sonder Corps down to Dresden. Torgau is not as important. It's a strategic objective. It's not as important of an objective. I'd really rather lure them off Leipzig, even if it means they're going to go attack Torgau. I actually don't really have that much of a problem with it because it doesn't matter. If I can get them off Leipzig, then I can go back to Leipzig, take it over in a turn, and then I can go to Hal, and then take that over in hopefully a turn because it will probably be undefended? I don't know. If I want to go right to Hal, this is the path that we're going to have to take, which is unfortunate, and they may choose to come after us. That's the only thing. And that's a lot of brigades. That's enough to really challenge the Sonder Corps, if we're being completely honest. The Sonder Corps wouldn't exactly have an easy time with that. Okay, well, oh man, so this is how I'm going to play it. I'm sending Leopold up here. We'll take him 2 turns to get there. I could force march him, and if it succeeds, he'll get there this turn, but he won't really be ready to do anything. There's almost nothing protecting this location. Just some bare minimum amounts of garrison units. I'm hoping by the time Leopold gets to this location, he can attack, and hopefully take it next turn. I'm going to send the Sonder Corps to Hal. It will take him 10 days. He'll get there this turn, and then he'll have the rest of the turn to rest a little bit. He has enough supplies to get him through anything. He'll recover his cohesion. I'll take one look at Hal and figure out what I'm going to do next turn in terms of if I'm going to assault it. And if I can assault and take both locations next turn without, well, not next turn, but in 2 turns, without losing anything, that means I can win this game in 2 turns. And how many turns do we have left? We have 9 turns remaining. So we know where we need to focus our units. We know what we need to protect. We know what we need to do. Since they were handed Dresden, we actually lost 15 national morale, and they gained 67, which is a bad note for our cohesion and a good note for them, for their cohesion. So, again, not really the best situation. I'm going to go ahead and recruit some more elite infantry, and we're going to go ahead and look at our requisitions, and we'll need to move it down a little bit more now. I'm going to go ahead and toss a requisition here, here, and here. The enemy's still in the negative for victory points. Everything's really coming to a head now. There are 2 turns remaining until we could at earliest end the game. We know we can end it in 2 turns. We know we can. It all depends. It all depends on Leopold's cohesion when he gets up here, and Leopold has a bunch of really good traits for reducing the fatigue and supply consumption of his units. It all depends what's happening at Hal, what's defending it, and it all depends what this army here decides to do, because this army could make our life hell. It could make this take a lot longer. Who knows? That's going to be it for this turn, and that's going to be it for this episode. I hope you guys are ready for the conclusion of this, because, I'm nervous. Thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.